Let me speak to you for a moment. Not as a motivator, not as someone trying to pump you up, but as someone who has stood exactly where you're standing now. You know that exhausting feeling when you keep explaining yourself to someone who has already chosen not to understand you? You replay conversations in your mind. You think, if I just explain it better, if I show up more, they'll finally see my worth. But here's the truth most people never hear. The moment you stop explaining yourself, the balance of power quietly returns to you. Not because you vanish, not because you're trying to hurt anyone, but because you stop pouring energy into a place that stopped giving anything back. And today, I want to break down what really happens when you move in silence, and why it changes everything. First, when you stop trying to prove yourself, reality becomes impossible to ignore. At some point, you have to admit this to yourself. You weren't being loved. You were being reacted to. Think about it. The effort came mostly from you. The emotional weight was carried by you. You were the one initiating, checking in, adjusting your words so you wouldn't upset them. That wasn't connection. That was performance. And when you stop performing, there are no reminders, no emotional padding, no one softening the distance anymore. Some people don't miss you. They miss how convenient you made their life. When that convenience disappears, so does their comfort. That's the first shift. Second, silence reveals who was only present out of convenience. Here's something no one prepares you for. When you go quiet, you don't lose everyone. You only lose the ones who were there because you were always available. Silence doesn't push genuine people away. It filters them. Those who truly cared will check on you. Those who valued you will feel your absence. But the ones who were just consuming your attention, they disappear. And that hurts. Not because they're gone, but because you finally see the truth clearly. Silence doesn't create distance. It exposes it. And once you see who vanishes without your effort, you can never unsee it. Third, emotional detachment is the first real act of choosing yourself. People think detachment means being cold. It doesn't. Detachment is what happens when you stop bargaining with your own worth. You stop asking questions you already know the answers to. You stop waiting for consistency from someone who survives on confusion. Detachment isn't anger. It's acceptance. It's saying, I see this clearly now, and I'm done trying to turn it into something it's not. That isn't weakness. That's self-respect arriving quietly. And the moment you detach, manipulation loses its power because you're no longer reacting. You're observing. Fourth, absence doesn't hit immediately. It lands later. This part matters, so listen closely. When you pull back, they don't feel it right away. At first, nothing seems different. They're distracted. They're busy. They assume you'll return like you always have. But absence works slowly. It settles in during still moments, during boredom, during nights when no one replaces the role you once filled. That's when they start remembering, not what you said, but how you showed up, your presence, your consistency, the emotional safety you provided. Absence doesn't shout, it echoes, and echoes linger. Fifth, your growth becomes the loudest statement you could make. This is where many people get it wrong. They go silent, but stay the same. Real power isn't silence by itself. It's what you build within that silence. You redirect your energy into yourself, your body, your discipline, your mindset, your future. No announcements, no explanations, just progress. And nothing unsettles someone more than watching you improve without needing their attention. Because now they don't just feel your absence, they feel your evolution. And growth without access is impossible to ignore. Sixth, peace becomes the final boundary. Eventually, something inside you shifts. You stop wondering if they noticed. You stop hoping they'll reach out. You stop replaying old memories. Not because you're numb, but because you're settled. Peace becomes non-negotiable. You realize you don't need closure talks. You don't need last messages. You don't need them to finally understand you. Your calm is the closure. And once you experience that, you never chase chaos again. So here's the truth. You don't step back to be missed. You step back to be free. And if they feel the loss later, that isn't your responsibility. You weren't asking for too much. You were offering depth to someone who only knew how to stay shallow. Let your silence be steady, not resentful. Let your distance be clean, not dramatic. Because by the time they understand what they lost, you won't be waiting. You'll be living a life that no longer requires their presence. And that's the real power.